Welcome to episode 34 of the People's Champ podcast. Today we are, as usual, giving just absolutely stupid but yet fun hot takes. We're going to be discussing what we want out of the game. These are not changes we think would be like healthy. These are just personal enjoyment changes, just things we want to see. We're doing it a little differently than normal though. We have a total number of points that we can use on our changes, which is 100. And then we have 5 ways to spend those points to kind of choose which changes we want the most versus how much they're worth to kind of create kind of an interesting way for us to do this. So of our 100 total points, the way we can spend those points are as follows. We can spend 25 if we wish to rework a card. We can spend 20 if we wish to nerf a standard card. We can spend 15 if we wish to ban a standard card. We can spend 10 if we wish to nerf a wild card. And we can spend 5 if we wish to buff a card. For the most part, these are ordered in the way that they are because the likelihood that the dev team would actually do something like this, they're much more likely to ban a standard card than they are to nerf it to save wild rights. Nerfing costs more than banning a standard card. And reworking is just like something they'll never do. They'll just print a new card. So it's the most expensive. Technically speaking, buffs like never happen. So that should cost like 1,000,000 points. But like, hey, if you want to throw in some buffs for fun, fill out your money, go for it. So that's the episode today. We're going to use this points we got, talk about what we want to see changed. And with us to do that is Blutrane. How are you, Blutrane?
Hello. Well, and I'm happy to be here to share my ridiculous hot takes because it turns out I've got many of them.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
We have gotten Blutrane back for a second episode. Those of you who are not the three of us probably are wondering what other episode was he on? We lost it because my computer is dumb. So welcome back, Blutrane. My computer's going to be less dumb this time, I promise.
Fingers crossed.
Glad to be back.
The worst case scenario now is that you just have to start over for the editing. You can't like lose the footage anymore because I have it.
Right.
You just have to start over if your project is broke.
Yeah, so we're going to get into trivia as we always do. But first, if you're liking the podcast, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on all of the relevant platforms. We're on YouTube and all of Spotify, Apple Music, all that sort of stuff. And we really appreciate your support. Without further ado, let's get into trivia.
Hello everyone. Which expansion saw the most nerfs in Hearthstone history, and how many nerfs did that expansion see?
I feel like I should know the answer to this because it was on Hearthstone Jeopardy.
Yes,
or at least
was.
a similar question was. Yeah.
It was, in fact, on
and-
Hearthstone Jeopardy, yes.
And I believe this was an episode of Jeopardy that I helped you test with, and I still do not remember the answer. I suffer from a medical condition known as old person's brain.
Sometimers.
Yeah.
All right. So, Blutrane, you get to pick if you're picking first in the middle or last.
I don't mind going first. I'm only going to get potentially half of the question right because I'll never get the number correct.
Right.
None of us would. Yeah. And then, so Jordan, you can pick if you want to go second or third.
Oh. Well, I'll take second because I know it.
Deep strategizing here.
I don't know how
Yes.
Run Worlds work. He just kind of tells me who goes second or third, and I just suck it up. Last time he prices righted me, and I like knew the answer, but he just like went one over me, and like I was like 80 off of a 3,500 answer. It's like, oh, sick, great game.
Okay, now that makes me third. All right, Blutrane, what do you think it is?
I believe the expansion is Ashes of Outland.
You'd be correct. Demon
As
Hunter was
for the
a heck of a
number-
class.
Yeah, I mean that we've had a few expansions since Jeopardy, but I
Dude, I think
mean
this was,
Ashes
like,
is still
2. This is like 2 or 3 for Jeopardy. Like Jeopardy 2 or 3. It's a pretty old question.
yeah. Ashes of Outland still is football in the groin when it comes to nerfs. As for a number, I mean I'm just gonna pull one out of thin air, so
Sure.
I'll go with a baker's dozen. We'll go with 13.
It is Ashes of Outlands. Yes, that is the expansion. And I am deciding in my head, I don't remember if it was 18 or 19. And I don't know if any have been nerfed in that expansion since for Wild. Because theoretically that number could go up. So I'm trying to think if there were any Ashes of Outlands card that were nerfed for Wild. I don't think so, right? Because they haven't nerfed for Wild in a while.
I think there was.
Was there an
There
Ashes
was.
of Outland card nerfed recently for Wild? Because they did big
Not
changes.
recently, but it was nerfed for Wild.
Oh, shoot. What card was that? All right, I'll trust you. I'll instead of 18, I'll go 19 because I think it may have gone up. I'll say Ashes of Outland 19. So you have to go
Yeah.
14 or 20 because of the way this stupid Price is Right works.
You can go with 1
That's true. You
if
can
you
go
think
with
it's
1.
fewer than 13.
1, 14, or
I
20.
don't think it is. It's certainly Ashes of Outland. Demon Hunter alone, I think, has a baker's dozen. I just don't know if it has significantly more than that or just a little bit more than that. Yeah, I'll go with 14. That gives me whatever Jordan's original answer
If it's
was,
18,
too.
I'm going to be really upset.
You can blame me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You will.
I shall.
The expansion that saw the most nerfs is Ashes of Outland. It had 26 cards nerfed. The next highest
No.
being, I believe, Skullman's Academy with 16. So 10 more nerfs
Real?
for that class.
Damn.
Real?
I thought 13 was high, but yeah, I guess.
I'm Googling it.
I mean,
I
Fact
believe
checking
it.
live.
Before you guys started saying, before Jordan said his number, I was thinking it was like at least in the 30s or 40s.
You could have gone over me then.
I mean, an expansion only has like 100 cards, right? So that would be like almost
135, right?
135. Is that the number? So 40 would be a significant. But
It's true.
it's without going over.
Ashes had
Which maybe
more
it shouldn't be.
because of Demon Hunter.
It
I
had the
don't know.
most because of
Right.
Demon Hunter, yeah. But it also has things like Dark Glare that were nerfed twice.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Dark Glare,
It had
yeah,
Blood
Dark
Boil
Glare was.
Brute that was nerfed.
Does-
It had Corsair
Dark
Cash
Glare-
that was nerfed.
Does Dark Glare get counted multiple times for
Yeah,
multiple nerfs?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, so if a card
He
gets
may have
nerfed
been asking how
multiple
many
times, it
nerfs
would
and not how many
count.
cards that were nerfed. Were there like 7 cards that were nerfed twice?
Mm,
No idea. I think
maybe
Blackjack
then.
Stunner was nerfed on that expansion, and Shadow Jeweler Hanar were both nerfed on that expansion as well.
Both of those were.
Hanar was nerfed.
Yeah, it used to be
Oh
5
yeah,
health.
it used to be a 1/5.
Renew
Oh,
and
yeah.
Apotheosis were both nerfed. A lot of nerfs.
Those are Ashes cards, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
Hand of
Those
a Doll
nerfs are
was
winning.
nerfed. Spoiler for what's yet to come. Evocation was nerfed. And Cantor's Flow was nerfed twice, so that's another double that would come up there.
Cantor's Flow is Ashes.
Mm-hmm. Scavenger's Ingenuity was nerfed. Was Imprisoned Falma nerfed? I don't think so, was it?
No.
Oh.
Imprisoned Scrap Imp was though.
Yeah, is that in here? I didn't see that when I looked at Warlock. You would think, oh, it is. I missed it. Yeah, that was another nerf I missed.
The 10-6 was as well.
I haven't looked at neutral. Yeah, there's probably some
Imprisoned
neutrals.
Downtown.
I don't think any Druid cards were nerfed. They must have gotten. Oh, they had Fungal Fortunes nerfed.
Kalthos was nerfed like 3
Oh
times.
my goodness! You want to hear the Demon Hunter cards that were nerfed? Sigil Runner, Imprison Antenna, Skull of Gul'dan, Priestess of Fury, Warglaze of Azzinoth, Metamorphosis. Kael'thas was nerfed twice. Yeah, so maybe it's 19 cards, but like so many have been nerfed twice. I don't know.
Do I
thought
want
it
to
was
hear the
19.
Demon Hunter cards that were nerfed? You'd have to basically read out all the Demon Hunter cards that one would want to play with in a deck.
I think some of the nerfs were Initiate from that dump, so
Yeah.
it's not actually that. There's just a lot of cards nerfed. I'm learning here. All right. We're going to start out hot here. You've been waiting for content. This episode's been going for like 20 years. We haven't said anything of value. So I'm going to start out with my hottest take of the century. My first 15 points I'm spending is on the ban a standard card section. And I would like to ban the 4-word named card, Theator, the Mad Duke. I just absolutely just don't like this card. It's just not fun. I don't like it. I hate it. I despise it. I want just out of my game of Hearthstone. I've heard a lot of talks about like it's healthy for the game because it keeps all these non-game decks away and all this stuff. And it's like, you might have a point. It's in 35% of the decks, but we're still seeing non-games, and I kind of think that Theatar creates more non-games than he prevents, because you play Theatar in 4, you steal their card, that's like how they win, and then you've won. And it's like, did you deserve to win?
Just don't play a deck. with
Every
one win
deck to
condition.
ever
It's not
exist
hard.
has a card where if it's stolen, you just lose the matchup, because you only see so many in a game. Like you lose the one card you're building towards, you're done. You can't strategize at all because you're just going to lose the card you've been setting up.
Any button deck that is not truthful.
Any hero power deck, those don't exist in Wild Hearthstone. No one plays hero power decks in Wild
Except
Hearthstone
for
besides
the-
even Shaman, I guess. And
Except for the best deck in the format.
whoa, the best deck, nuts. At least
The
to like,
best deck.
at least for things like Miracle Rogue and like Blessed Priest being the 2 best decks, because they just like vomit all their stuff out and then smack you. They try to go under the Theatar. It's like, is it healthier than I'm making on 18/18 on turn 2 as Miracle Rogue? I don't think so. Just let me kill you on 6 with Pillager. Like, what are we doing here? This isn't better. I don't know. I don't know that Theatar needs to go. He could probably realistically just be bumped up in mana cost. Like Butanas costs 7 and this card costs 4. Like, make it cost 7 mana as well. I don't know. I wouldn't actually ban it if I was like a designer probably, but it's cheaper on our point systems. I would ban. Just get it out. It just feels miserable to play against. And even the people who like the card can agree with that. Like, it's just a horrible feeling. Like, sure, if you steal their card and you win, sick. Like, you stole their Anduin on turn 4, you won the game. Nice. It's like, but it's not fun.
I was
wanna
watching Otters play a THL match a couple weeks back, and every single game in that series, he either Theatard on 4 or got Theotard, and that
Mhm.
that determined the outcome of the
Yep.
game.
Yep.
And
Non-games.
wasn't just greedy control decks or single card win con decks. There was a mixed bag, right? Because it was a lineup,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was something to see.
Yeah, because if you even if you lose like your turn 5 in Wild, like you're passing, like because you don't have a good play, you have like 4 cards in your hand at most. Like what do you like?
Yep.
You lose the
Yeah.
card that's good in the matchup in the next 3 turns, and the game's 7 turns long at most. Like it's so strong. It's such an absurdly powerful card, and it feels terrible. Like even when they dodge, you sit there with a sinking feeling in your stomach while you wait for the discover to go away to see if you lost the game or not. Like it's like come on, and then when they don't hit it, like oh, okay, I can maybe still win. Like maybe I can still play a game because Theotar didn't create a non-game. Like sure. I haven't seen a pillager since he was printed. I haven't seen a pillager rogue on ladder, not one. But I also lost 11x because I didn't want to play the game because Theotar exists. So I don't know. I went with ban because it was cheaper, but nerfing him to like 6 mana or 7 mana or at least 5, please. I think they're gonna nerf him because he's being overplayed and he's a neutral card and he's toxic. But I don't know what they'll do to it.
Right.
Probably just a 5 if I had to guess.
They said in the release, the patch notes, or maybe it was the developer on Twitter, that they got a lot of flack for not touching Theotar in this update. And basically what they said is they wanted to go with high confidence nerfs after the last balance patch. And, because of the impact of Theotar being so great in standard, they're worried about what changing it may unleash. They need to figure that out. So they kind of foreshadowed that his days in current form are numbered. They just want to make sure that when they do something to Theotar, they get it right.
Yeah, I mean the format. I think from what I hear, I don't play a lot of standard, but from what I've heard, it's been like because of Renathal, it's like a card draw simulator. Like you draw your Guff or your Varden, which gives you infinite value every turn. That's how you win.
Everybody wanted a control meta, so
control meta. Draw your hero card with infinite value. Yeah, that's how you win. Great game.
You reap what you sow. Everybody wants.
Yeah.
All right,
here's my second playable, right? So you don't take risks.
Second hot take of the night. People don't want a control meta. What control players want is they want to dunk on aggro noobs. But the second you put them into a control mirror, they're like, no, not like that. That's not what I wanted. That's what standard is for the most part.
Just all greed fest.
Yeah, it's just
I love greed fest.
Maybe
let me smash waves of N'Zoth boards into my opponent's N'Zoth boards. I love that.
I need to do a stream sometime where it's like just like a 10-hour stream and you're just hanging out at the house, and every time I queue up like extra large Reno Shadow Priest or like a 40 card deck and I queue into a 40 card deck, I'll just let you play. I'll just hop out. I'll tag out for that game. Like I'm good. I'm not trying to play a 50-minute game that's decided by a Theotar anyway.
I will say 40 this is my favorite meta in a long time. This is my favorite meta in a very, very long time. I played more games at Legend last month than I have like ever. I love it. It's been great.
Had fun. There's still broken things I can do.
I very selfishly want Theotar bumped to 5 so I can play it in Odd Warrior, but I don't actually care. Maybe it's just the MMR I'm at, but it just isn't an issue normally.
We can give you Dirty Rat. We'll bump Dirty Rat up to 3. You can have Dirty Rat.
I'll take it. Accept the terms of your trade. All right.
I thought it would be actually really gross if both Rat and Theotar were bumped up a mana. That'd be really awful. I would hate that experience.
Love it. Be awesome.
The funny thing is if they don't hit both of my like girls or both of my channels, I can still win a Ignite Mage against that. But it's like I don't want to play. Like, get me out. I'm good. Oh man. So that's my hot take. Is Theotar healthy? I've heard mixed bags. I think he's probably unhealthy for standard and probably slightly healthy for wild. But it's just a different level of unhealthy and wild with him in the game. Like you're still non-games up the wazoo, and you're still doing stupid things where you play a million cards and have broken interactions that don't exist. Like we still have Sea Devil, Gigafin, and Thurl Tox, and Weapon and Twig. It's like we need Theotar. And also Renathal. I think Theotar may get too much credit. I think Renathal allowing you to have all these cards who be able to win multiple matchups if you draw the right cards is part of the problem. Like you can shove Dirty Rat in every deck and Theotar in every deck because of Renathal, which is a whole nother thing. But I hate Theotar. I hate playing against it. I don't care if it's healthy or not. I want him gone. I don't like it. I don't like him.
Hey, it's your list.
Don't like him at all. All right, somebody else.
All right.
We got so many of these.
I think my hot take is spicier than Jordan's. So
well, it's just gonna be dumb,
prepared.
right? It's just gonna be like, I want to buff Broomstick to 0 mana, like something silly.
0 mana 3/3.
No, because I'm not gonna play.
He wants to make Carnival Clown cost 8 mana for his even warrior deck.
So stick with me here.
Oh god.
The best card to get off of Sky Raider in Odd Warrior. What do you think it is?
Skipper?
No, it'll be like Smite or something, right? Like it'll be value. Is it the 4 mana 5/5 that gives you a card? Oh, is it Hook Tusk? Or like
no. Although Hook Tusk is pretty good.
Can you get those? Can you get class cards?
You can.
Well, that gives you armor at the end of your turn. I don't know.
It is.
You're asking the wrong person. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
3 mana 2/5 Rogue Pirate. When you attack, draw a card.
That card's super good.
Draw a pirate.
Draw a pirate. Yes, draw a pirate. Much better. Odd Pirate Warrior struggles to draw its pirates in a timely manner because you're running so many control tools.
Are you playing Raid the Dogs in this deck? What are we on about here? Odd
Oh,
Pirate
yeah.
Warrior.
Oh,
You're playing
yeah.
Odd Pirate Warrior with Quest right now? That's the deck
Oh
you're
yeah,
playing?
that's the deck I've been playing for the last month. Yes.
Why is there a quest line in your deck? What?
So I have a win condition.
That's what the tech cards are for.
What about aggro?
I'm so confused.
Your
Anyway.
hero
What you're
power is your
playing?
win condition against
How do you beat
aggro.
aggro with that? What? You have board clears in there?
Yes.
What?
It's
Do you
got
have
40
Brand?
cards in it.
Do you have Brand for double Juggernaut?
I do have Brand for double Juggernaut and double other things. Double
Dude,
Sky
you're
Raider
stuck
is
in the
really good.
past. Why do you like these new cards? You could have played this deck like 7 years ago.
My new deck has Sanguine Depths in it, which is really good as a control tool against pirates.
Sanguine Depths.
And it's got Remnant Fall in it, which is important. So
What is
but yeah,
Sanguine Depths?
so all of this to say, I want Cutlass Courier, the 3-mana 2/5 rogue pirate,
No.
to be dual class. That's it. That's
Not
the take.
neutral, dual
You want to
class.
buff Pirate
class.
Warrior, everyone's favorite deck.
Yep.
in the world.
It does both the things I want to do. It buffs aggro so control gets worth, or so that combo gets worth, and it buffs Odd Warrior so I can play it more.
I don't actually think it
Pretty
makes
odd
much of a difference for aggro because, like in aggro Pirate Warrior, when it wasn't murdered for no
Ankar.
reason, you Ankar, but like the whole point of the deck is just to vomit out Juggernaut. Like the high end pirates that cost 3 or more generally got cut because they just didn't advance your game plan. But
Yeah,
I mean, perhaps
did
other
for-
decks may want
Right.
it in Warrior.
Big fan of it. That's my hot take. We don't
I
have
think
to-
that's a neat idea. I like it.
Yeah.
I was
thanks,
expecting
Rick.
worse.
Thanks, Blutrane. You were expecting worse? Oh, just wait for later, I guess.
So my first pick is not too exciting because it's the same as Jordan's. Theotar the Mad Duke. And I picked Theotar the Mad Duke as primarily an aggro enjoyer because even though I've played into like Theotar into lose is a very common interaction when you're playing an aggro deck. They'll slam Theotar on 4 and they'll just lose the next turn until they don't. And even if it only happens 1 out of 5 or 6 times, sometimes Theotar will steal the game from you for precisely the reason that Jordan said. They take away the card that you needed to push through to get there, and it stalls and it gives them enough time. It's just arbitrary and random. It's a feels bad card. Everything feels
Amen.
bad about it. You hit the nail on the head. Like they play it and you're gonna win next turn because you're the aggro deck, and they're sitting with the Discover up for like feels like an hour, and then finally you realize you got screwed over. It's just a feels bad card. So I would like it to. So I said nerf it. They wouldn't ban it because frankly, yeah, but I think it's terrible. It's even worse in standard than it is in wild. So I mean, as a sometimes standard enjoyer, I'd like to see it go there too. So I had 2 suggestions for this. They could increase it like 4 to like 7, so it's in line with Mutinous. Also, potentially another thing they could do to make it less consistent is rather than having you discover a card, just pick one at random, which still feels bad, but it takes away that whole like discover being up for what feels like a million years. Like it would just happen instantly, and then like did the bad thing happen or not? I don't think they'll take away the discover, but I do think they'll increase the cost, and I'd like to see the cost increased significantly. So yeah, Theotar the Mad Duke. It's just a feels bad card, and I hate it.
The random, I think, it's in line with Dirty Rat and Mutanus. Like, why does this one get to be targeted?
Right.
But also, isn't that just gonna feel worse though when they nail it randomly?
Yes, but they wouldn't do it as
Yeah.
often.
Sure.
The reason that won't happen is they have to create a new UI where you can like pick one of the 10 cards in your opponent's hand, right? Like they don't have that currently.
Right. Or if
Right.
you have a card that you don't want to give to your opponent
So I'm
because it would
envisioning
be
in
detrimental.
your version, I'm envisioning that you pick one of their cards from random, and then you pick one of your cards. But like, do you discover your card, or do you get to choose from all your cards?
No, both would be random.
Both would be random.
All
Do they get
just
to click your
random.
hand?
No.
No, they just.
Oh, you're
Just like
saying
how
it switches
Dirty Rat
random. You
works.
don't click it; it just switches
Yeah.
randomly.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that does a couple things. One, it happens instantaneously, so you don't have to sit there anymore. But 2, the other thing I don't like about Theotar is that it gives them information about what else is in your hand. Sure, they only pick 1, but they get to see 3 cards, and I, that information's not nothing. And what feels even worse is that you don't get the information in reverse, right? Because you don't see what they're discovering to give you. So not only are they disrupting you, they're getting some choice information as well that could be relevant.
Thinking about it now.
I just don't like Theatar. Jordan and I don't agree on much when it comes to the types of decks we like to play, and that's okay. But this is one where I think our interests have intersected. It's just a feels bad card. People tell me all the time, "Well, you're an aggro player. What do you care?" Well, I just don't like it. I just don't like it at all. So Theatar the Mad Duke, increase the cost. They're not going to change the way it works because it's kind of iconic at this point.
Thinking about it now, the like pick a card without being able to see what they are is actually like way stronger in some scenarios because you like know they drew a 0 ice block, or like they have like a card sitting in their far left all game.
Yeah.
So it'd actually be really absurd.
You can grab the top deck, or you can
Yeah.
grab something that's been mulligan.
You grab the top deck, or you grab the Quest Mage card that's been sitting far left all game and take their parrot like pretty often. That'd actually be gross.
Right.
Yeah, so just randomly switching two cards would be a clown fest. Nobody would play that card though, which is great.
No,
for
it
me.
would kill
I
it.
would love that. I expect them to nerf it to 5, and I expect to be sad they didn't make it 7. But we should probably move on from Theatar.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually the first one on my list. I didn't bump it up because you spoke about it, so it was number 1.
I'll just go do a quick buff just to keep things moving. I want Hand of Vidal back. Like, come on, like fix it already. Revert the card. Paladin sucks. Revert Hand of Vidal. Good. Is it still in standard? Like, great. That's good for both of us. I'm gonna say a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like, one house not gonna break the game. The cards, the decks it was good in are gone. Like, make it 2/2. It looks cleaner. Feels gooder.
That'll cost you 5 runes.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of those coming.
Good
All
call.
right.
I like that.
I will follow suit and also do a buff. I want to buff Rancor to be 3 mana for all the selfish reasons again. So
buffing a standard card.
Jordan, what's my favorite deck again?
Odd Warrior.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
All right.
It's got a lot of
Fair
clears
enough.
at 3 mana, man. I don't. Is board clears for 3 mana really what that deck is missing?
That one gives you armor, and it like deals
It's
with
really
the
good board clear, sure.
really well. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I was like, when you said like you're gonna make it like these weird changes, I was expecting you to make like defile 3 mana and also a warrior card. That's what I was like. That's like I was expecting. It was just to blur the lines.
I'm kind of doing that. It's just kind of like piecewise.
Like at least Rogue and Warrior have dual class. I was expecting you to dual class 2 things that don't work, that like that doesn't exist.
That would be a strictly Vaapad thing to do.
I'm also going to be really surprised if like Mechathune to like non-existent isn't on your list because you hated that card for so long because you're an Odd Warrior gamer. All right, Blutrane, you got another for us?
So I went with a rework for my second card.
Big money.
And this was inspired by wild Hearthstone streamer Martian Boo. My second most hated card is Ice Block, especially Ice Block the way it's being used in Quest Mage right now. I used to rage back in the day when Mozaki Mage was the mage deck, when they discover a third one sometimes. Now it's not uncommon to have 4 or 5 Ice Blocks played against you in a game. So the rework that I'd like to see is one that Martian suggested, which is that Ice Block as a card can only activate once a game. And I think this is a good change because it's still playable, it's still really good, and it's actually in keeping with the theme of the card in the Warcraft universe. So like if you've ever played WoW or Heroes of the Storm, like Ice Block is the thing you do right as you're about to die. You kind of put the shield up, the cooldown happens, you dodge the hit, and then you kind of skulk away, hopefully, and live for another day. It's not something you keep doing over and over again. It's like an escape in case of emergency, break glass. And it's a one-time thing, and I'd like to see it be reworked to be a one-time thing as well. And then maybe, some of the more interesting mage combo decks that we've had to kill for various reasons, maybe those start to be a little less offensive, and those might be able to come back in some form. Because currently the Ice Block Mage, as it were, is the worst iteration of that type of deck, I think, in Hearthstone's existence. You talk about feels bad gameplay. Parrots giving you unlimited turns and generating 5 ice blocks with a legendary Naga.
Yeah, it's so fast and like so hard to kill. It's truly obnoxious, I agree.
Yeah.
So
it almost made my list. For a lot of the same reasons. Now, would you, in triggering once per game, would you just make it a legendary, or would you just like keep it in epic so people can run to if they want to?
Making it a legendary wouldn't fix it because you could discover multiple copies of a legendary
You
card.
still survive it.
Right. I think that if they had made legendary spells at the beginning of Hearthstone, it would be one.
Maybe.
It becomes awkward because then what happens? They'd have to figure out mechanically what happens. Like after it's triggered, can you not play it? Can you play it but it never procs? can you play it, but when it procs, it just doesn't do anything. So they'd have to figure that out. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I think
And
you
if they,
I think you have to let them play it, but it doesn't proc. Because then like they can
That'd be
activate
that'd be
Flak Mage
a
and they can activate their other secret support by having it up.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Is that just super strong? Like, do you just like run that in every secret deck then?
What?
Just
Ice Block?
do
they're already cutting Ice Block a lot of the time
Ice Block
because
already
as a,
already
But if
stays
you
up
can
all game.
but if you guarantee
Yeah.
that you can always have one up forever and ever,
Well, that only
It would
happens
still
if one's
proc.
already been proc. So like they would just kill
Yeah.
you. Like you have to find a way to not die and then put another Ice Block up.
Reno Secret Mage.
I mean,
then?
sure,
No.
but
you're getting into some real niche like decks that
Yeah.
are
could also just put up like any other bad secret that never gets proc. I think you're probably fine there.
like rigged fair game.
Yeah.
That one never procs when I play it. What a bad
I
card.
don't even think, by the way, with one a game secret block or ice block, I don't think you need to bring back like ignite mage and 2 mana flow and stuff. Because I think right now, if you made girl 2 mana, ignite mage could reliably beat Theatar by going under it. Because
Ignite
Mage
is
Right.
gross.
Dex has got some stuff to it. I've won a game on turn 3 with it like in its current form. Like, and obviously that was like a clippable moment because it was so absurd. But with Kindling Elemental in the game now, you could easily go off on turn 3 or 4 or 5, and they don't know as if Theatar. Like, it's not. The deck does not need to be good. I like it as it is because it sucks. I'm kind of weird in a way where sometimes I like a deck a lot. I want it to suck because it's like cooler. I don't know. It's like it's my deck.
Oh, I'm exactly the same way.
I'm like kind of like that with Ignite Mage. If it's toxic and just like wins on 4, it's like what's fun in that? I don't know.
I mean, as much as I wasn't a fan of Ignite Mage, its play pattern and play experience was far superior to that of the current unlimited turn quest
yeah,
mage.
because you
Like
die. The game's
right,
over.
yeah, the
You
game
move on.
ends, right? You don't get pecked to death by like 1/1 parrots that were generated from Potion of Illusion. Like I can't understand why that deck is still a thing. They killed Turtle Mage, Tortolan, I forget the name of the card, but the turtle.
Pilgrim.
That was way less of an offensive deck than this current one is. Yeah, it doesn't have a great win rate, but again, I mean, we're talking about feels here, and nothing feels worse.
It doesn't
than,
have a play
than,
rate, is why it hasn't been nerfed. No one's playing it outside of High Legend for some reason.
Were people playing
Currently.
Turtle Mage outside of High Legend?
I don't know, but that's the reason people say when they haven't nerfed it yet. But yeah, it is strange that an Infinite Ice Block deck got nuked, but an Infinite Turn deck hasn't gotten nuked. I mean, I think when has Parrot rotated? I think when Parrot rotates, you could easily make it cost 8 and solve a lot of the problems. You don't fix a Savara Infinite Ice Block nonsense, but I don't know. It's a tricky situation.
Ice Block, yeah. I don't like Ice Block. I mean, reasons are obvious, right? It's just your get out of jail free card in every single possible combination. That's why I love playing Hunter. because Tavish
or Flare.
Tavish is just, for Flare. I don't even run Flare because Tavish is just your tech. The way that you run Tavish just beats that deck. And if they're teching armor to beat Tavish in those rare circumstances, then okay, you got me. That's happened to Seth a couple times. Never happened to me. But yeah, I don't like losing to Ice Block. So
fair enough. I would like to see Crimson Sigil Runner go back to 2 attack. 1 mana 1/1 just feels awful. Let's get it back to 2, please. Thank you.
Good buff.
Good buff. I would like Shield Shatter to cost 9 mana.
What does it cost now?
10, but he wants it played in Odd Warrior.
Also, so like it costing 10, yes, you can't play an Odd Warrior. If you make it 9, you button on 2, you button on 3, and you can play it
for 1 mana.
For one
if you
mana.
haven't gotten chipped at all.
Right.
I am
and
happy.
You can play it so early.
I am happy that you are on my friends list because I am going to Q dodge you every single time. I never want to Q into you.
Fair enough. Maybe I just Q snipe you.
What's Odd Warrior and you're just playing Quest? What are we doing with Raidodox in our deck?
You'd want to Q snipe me. It would be free low.
Yeah, even Shaman and
I might decimate some aggro decks. Yeah. For some reason, even Shaman is unwinnable, but every other aggro deck I can win.
I would like to make 1 mana 1/1s, 1 mana 2/1s. Let's buff Abusive Sergeant, please. Make it 2 attack. Thank you.
I forgot that card existed.
Because it's a 1 mana 1/1 in core for the last 4 years. Can we bring the card back already to 1 mana 2/1?
It's a classic.
It is.
Would it even see play? What did Enos
I
play?
don't know, but it'd be way more satisfying being a 1-mana 2/1 than a 1-mana 1/1. It looks so ugly.
I literally don't remember it as a 1-mana 2/1.
Oh my
That's how
gosh.
long ago it got nerfed. I've
I
only
played it
seen
all
it
the
in that
time in
form
Face Hunter
in
and stuff.
Classic.
It's 1-mana
I've
2/1. Give
only
a
seen
minion
it in that
+2
form
attack
in
this turn.
Classic.
It's sweet. Get those sweet trade ups and just like damage face. It's amazing. 1-mana 1/1s should be like win the game. They should be like broomstick. Just a little
Or
aggressive
refresh
card.
all
Should
your
not be
mana
a 1-mana
crystals.
1/1. Right. Like, what are we doing here?
Hmm.
Why do these cards have 1 attack? 1-mana 1/1, I want it to be patches. Like, what are we doing
They
here?
made Knife Juggler a 3/2 again, so why not
Yeah,
make
what
a
are we
Abuse of
doing?
Sergeant a
It's because
2/1?
it's in Corrin. For some reason, it's like too good as a 2/1. I don't get it. Just
Hmm.
ugly. It's just ugly. It gives more attack than it has. How's that make sense? You got to be equally equipped as a sergeant if you're gonna yell at other people.
If you're an abusive sergeant, though, you're
Yeah.
probably a bad leader and you're probably a fraud. So it checks out.
Oh man. Got 1 buff left. Running out of buffs quickly.
All right. This is my last buff. Patches. Give it rush.
I don't think
Good
it would
enough,
matter
warrior.
much, but it would suck when it does if you're on the other end of it. But most games, patches is played into an empty board. It'd be good in the Pirate Rogue mirrors because then you could use it to kill your opponent's 3/1.
It would be good into Pirate Rogue, Fraud Warrior as well.
Oh my gosh.
It also goes back.
You can't ruin everybody else's time to buff Odd Warrior. Just like print a pirate card or something. I don't know. You already
That is
did
a
print
pirate
one.
card.
Just make like
Anyways.
Flay Fighter a dual class card then. I don't know. Could you imagine?
Just
Could you imagine
put
Prize
Patches back
Plunder
in
as
charge.
a warrior card?
Put Patches back in charge.
I
Just give him
almost-
charge.
Just give
I
him
almost
charge.
said we should put Flybooter as a dual class card, and then I thought better of it.
That's a neutral card.
No, it's not.
The 2-mana 2/2
1 mana,
that
one-
shoots 2.
No, 1 mana 1/1. Add 2 1/1s to your
Oh,
hand.
that card?
The
Yeah,
rogue
that'd
one.
be really good
Yeah.
in Warrior.
Yeah,
Be pretty gross.
Too good.
way too good.
Yeah, that'd be strong.
I'm crazy, but I'm not that
I
crazy.
don't know if it's strong anymore, but it would have been real gross. They've nerfed the quest enough times that like
I would bet that card alone would
you'd complete the
bring back
first stage on 3 at the earliest, and then you still have a bunch more pirates because it's 3/3/3 now, right? Or 3/3/2. Like it's so many pirates.
It would go so fast. I don't know.
Any quest
think-
quest rogue enjoyers? Is that good in Renethel? Is anyone trying that? I'm sure it's been tried, right?
I think I've lost.
You probably
think-
just get your quest reward Theotard, right?
I think White Delight tried it for a minute.
It seems
Well,
like it should be
just
good
like-
in this one.
Just like the quest line rewards, you complete and you play at the same turn.
That's
you prep
what
it
you
out.
have to do.
Right? Yeah.
Otherwise, you
We-
get.
I
know-
think
we've
that
been over
that
this.
hurts. Also, keep in mind that like the breakpoints are a lot more different
40
now
life.
that you have 40 health. Yeah.
2 more cards you have to deal
Which
damage
is-
with.
Good segue into my next rework.
All right.
Uh,
Go for it.
Renethal, aka Renethel.
Yeah, sir.
1 card for 1 health, not fair. 2 cards for 1 health is more fair. I'd like to see it reworked to give you 35 life instead of 40. Still makes you a little bit more resilient, but not to the point where it pushes out aggressive cards. Or what I'm worried about is what they're going to do when they decide they want aggro to come back and they start printing aggro cards in the next expansion cycle that deal with 40 health. Think about the impact that'll have on our turtle format. It'll continue this cycle where people feel the need to play with 40 health because the breakpoints now have to align to 40 health instead of 30, and it kind of takes you past a point of no return.
Mhm.
And like if you look at Magic the Gathering, like their breakpoints have been stable for almost 30 years. Like there's something to be said for that. So I'm not a big fan of Renethal because I'm an aggro player, so you can say that it's biased. But I also don't like the precedent that it kind of moves the goalposts. And sure, in Standard they can walk it back whenever they want, but in the internal format they won't be able to. So and given how much it's warped Standard, I think that a rework, even for the time that it remains in that format, is
Likely. Probably, honestly. Copium.
hopeful. Yeah. Or the people saying maybe they just rotate him earlier. Well, okay, that's great for Standard, but is it great for us? I mean, I know Vaapad, you like Renethal, but wait until they start printing aggro cards to deal with 40 health.
And you just die.
Then you're gonna be forced to play Renethal in every single deck.
40 health is nothing. I got 80. It's fine.
All right, fair enough. Maybe
Thanks.
you're the one exception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes Odd Warrior. Wait a minute, it'll make Odd Warrior into a meta deck, and then it won't be hipster anymore, and then you still gonna like playing it.
That's a better
As soon
point,
as Odd Warrior
actually.
comes to year 1, this man's in shambles.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Renethal. I like the meta how it is right now. Odd Warrior is actually playable for the first time in a long time.
And
Like,
yet
I'm
you're
playing it
playing
to,
the
like,
wrong version with Quest.
I'm playing it to like a 55%
It's like
win
actually
rate.
good in Legend. if you play
Whereas like
this.
last meta before Nathria dropped, we were probably in like the 30s and 40s for Odd Warrior. It's like
But is it doing well because of Renathal, or is it doing well because people are playing Even Shaman, which just you said Even Shaman doesn't do well. You
even
don't do
Shaman's
well
a
to
bad
Even Shaman.
matchup. No, even Shaman's a bad matchup.
Okay.
I
Maybe it is
it
the health then. I don't know.
Yeah, the health really matters sometimes. There's the amount of times that I get down to 10 and then stabilize is very high. So it does matter.
I'm surprised to hear you say that Even Shaman's a bad matchup because I was playing a lot of Enrage Warrior this month, and man, I just dunked Even
He's
Shaman
playing
so hard.
pirates instead of like
Yeah, it's
removal.
possible I'm playing the
Wow, fair
wrong
enough.
version.
Yes.
It's possible I'm playing the wrong
But
version to
Skipper's
beat even Shaman. But
risky Skipper's a pirate. You're
Yeah.
playing
If he
Skipper.
draws
Skipper
risky, he
just
has a
solos
chance for
even.
sure.
I am
I
playing
mean,
Risky Skipper.
maybe what you do is you kind of make it so that you draw risky Skipper more often, and then just nuke boards with it. I mean, Skipper just eats Even Shaman alive because once you bully them off the board, they never get it back.
It's very hard.
Like there's no comeback strategy, right? That's why like another reason why I don't like playing Even Shaman because it's like you kind of you ask your question and then if it's answered, you kind of
Yeah, the
pack
best-
up and go to the next
Best
game,
comeback
right? There's
is like 0
no
mana 8/8 and then make another like
Yeah.
big swing, big pop off turn with the weapon. It's happened once to me, and I was able to just trade fully to stay alive and win because I have more cards because I'm not playing even shaman.
Right.
But
right.
I would
Yeah,
agree if they can answer your board, you tend to lose.
Yeah, I've built mine to bully Pirate Rogue because I hate losing to that deck.
Are you still seeing a lot of Pirate Rogue? I feel like that's really
I
dropped
am.
off lately.
I'm
Yeah,
at
I still see
10x and I still see
some.
a lot of it.
Still see
Pirate
some.
it's
Rogue's
still a good deck.
Swordfish
probably
is
in my top
bonkers.
3 most common matchups.
Like if you can't kill their first board, and I'll talk about this later. Spoiler alert. Maybe I should talk about it now. Is it my turn? Let's make
I
it
think
my
it
turn.
is.
I
Yeah.
have Nerf, a standard card on my list for 20 points, and I have a Swordfish on the list. I chose Nerf instead of Ban, even though it was more expensive, because, you know, I've asked for Abusive Sergeant buffs, and I've asked for Sigil Runner buffs. I don't want aggro to not exist. That would be the worst metagame of all time. That'd be kind of like Renathal. I don't want that. I want aggro to be disgusting. If I'm going to lose as a combo deck, I want to die. I don't want to have my card stolen from me, and then that's the game. I want to just die. Just kill me. Just have the decency to kill me.
We're in
Come
a
on.
I would
weird.
like
This is a
the
weird
opportunity
place to
to
be.
oblige you.
I get happily. Just play cards and hit me in the face if that's how you want to win. Otherwise, get all this nonsense out of here. Don't Dietar no Kani and rat me. Just kill me. Have
This
some
is
decency.
super weird. Can we talk about for
How
the
is this
second?
weird? Aggro
We've
kills
got-
combo.
We've got me, the control player, Blutrane, the aggro player, and Jordan, the combo player.
Hey, we got a
And
nice
all
balance.
3 of us want aggro to be busted.
Well, yeah, of course.
I don't want it to be busted.
I want all 3
I
archetypes to be equally strong.
yeah,
That's
I
not
like
what I want.
people. I want people, but here's the thing:
like variety.
you don't want too much of an imbalance because then the pendulum swings too far. But I am a firm believer that everyone should be able to enjoy the game their own way. That's the sign of a good game. I
Right.
like to think Hearthstone's a good game.
Yeah. So I want Swordfish
And
nerf because if you can't answer the turn 1 board or the turn 2 board and you get chip damage in, you just die to the Swordfish and Chargers afterward because their 1 mana 3/1 hit you in the face. It's kind of like back in Classic if like a high main hit the face, you just like won the game. Now it's a Swordfish on 1 and you have to have like the 1 card to deal with that board or you just die. Renathal has changed that a bit, but
I'm really surprised Swordfish has lasted this long.
it's
I mean-
unplayable in standard. It has no cards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
It's
virtue
so
of a meta game, not of it being a bad card.
Yeah. And I don't want it buffed because aggro needs to exist. Like just like add
What do you
1
nerf it to?
cost or remove 1 durability, like or maybe
I
only
think durability
maybe
has changed.
the softest nerf is to make it so that you only gain 1 attack with the pirate. Although is that even the softest nerf? That might be harsh. I don't know. But just a minor
You'd
tweak.
rather
on the pirate,
be
not on the weapon.
Yeah, so like if you hit a pirate, it's like +1 attack instead of +2. But I don't actually know if that's better than removing a durability or adding a mana crystal. Whatever the
removing
lightest
the
nerf
attack
is,
from the removing the attack from the pirate would be the lightest touch.
make it a 3/3.
Removing the durability means that it's just strictly worse than hooked scimitar.
Yeah.
Taking away an attack and having it being 3/3 is
No,
weird.
it's
I
not
don't know what that would
strictly
look
worse
like.
than Hook Scimitar because you can play it on 3 with no other card, right?
I
And you do
suppose that's
dredge
true.
and give a pirate attack.
That's not always an advantage, but I suppose
Dredge isn't always an advantage, yes, but buffing a pirate usually is, if you're playing a deck with pirates anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right.
A big
I don't
part
know
of
how they nerf it.
I don't
a
either.
big part of the attack buff that's really important, or like the attack nerf, is you can't play Corsair for free.
No, you still have. Well, with
That
Buccaneer you can,
matters.
I guess. You're
Yeah.
right.
But yeah,
And to your point, Dread Corsair is one of the highest win rate cards in the deck.
Yeah, the 0 mana 3/3s that come out on turn 3 after if you manage to clear that board, you can still then lose to the 0 mana 3/3s. Deck's absurd.
Yeah.
I want Swordfish
Mhm.
tuned down. Just a bit. Just
like I
please
said,
stay
I don't
down.
like losing to the deck. I stopped just short of playing Vipers in my Odd Warrior because it's so bad into everything else. But I
Is it?
Swordfish.
You don't run Cobalt Sticky Fingers in your Odd Warrior? What
It's a
kind of Odd
pirate,
Warrior
bro.
gamer are
It's
you?
a pirate.
One with self-respect.
I say you throw him in there.
There is still people to this day that run Cobalt Sticky Fingers in their deck. I don't get it. People really hate losing to Kingsbane, I guess.
When I start queuing into Cream Puff, I will put it in my deck, but that's not happened yet.
Smudge.
So
I queued into
Smudge.
Cream Puff earlier today with Nate. He was not playing
Mm.
Kingsbane, so put a note there. I
Seems
won't
like he
spoil
was
what he was
playing
playing.
extra large Reno Shatterpriest if I had to guess. It seems like right up his alley.
that does.
All
He
right,
also likes Free Shaman. He likes
He was-
slow decks too.
He was playing Renathal, Reno, Greed Mage.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Didn't that just get
does
Giga
also-
nerfed? Did he like cut the hero power and location or?
The game didn't last that long for us to really see.
So he got rolled.
He got beat. Yes.
Unlucky.
I don't want to say he got rolled, but it turns out that the 5/4 for 4 that buffs all your totems by 2 is it's a pretty good card.
Got on 4, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we got it on 4.
Who's
Maybe it
next?
was 5. I don't remember what it was.
It's in Jordan's most recent video, the Stone Reigns.
Yes. Who's that Hearthstone card? Is it you, Vaapad?
Did you just go? Yeah. you just
Yeah.
went.
How are you making Odd Warrior better this time?
Well, we're gonna make combo worse to make
Oh,
Odd Warrior better.
sure, of course. Right.
Sticking with the nerfing weapons train, Twig is
Mm.
going to 6 mana, and it's going to give you empty mana crystals.
Both? Sheesh.
Both.
Delete the card. All right.
Yes, that.
All right.
I like to it getting deleted.
Yeah.
Not much to say about that. That would probably do it.
Yeah. Next.
On the same train, the Druid Hate train, my next card is a standard nerf. I'm surprised it didn't get hit in the last balance patch. It's probably on the radar. Scale of Onyxia. I don't like it.
That'd be sweet if that got nerfed.
Cost 7. I'd like to see it cost 8. I'd like it to see it cost 9. Hell, make it cost 69 for all I care. But I think that it probably doesn't survive at 7.
Yeah, the Floop interaction and with the new board wide minion clears Druidism I'm getting is just absurd.
Has it occurred to you that Flute might be the issue?
Well, in Wild, yes, but those cards in general are just.
But
really
even
good.
in Standard, like when they ramp and just scale you, they just like it hits you that
lose.
much harder. It's just even on its own, it's a good card. It's just really
so
good.
good.
Just get a full board of
It's a
2 on rushers.
14/7.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, the Floop interaction is a whole other conversation, but just the card on its own is
Really
very good.
efficient.
I find it really odd how they've kind of like, we want Druid to be a class that doesn't have removal, so they basically give it like board floods with rush. Like I don't know, man. That's kind of
It is strange.
give it removal to nerf the class. You know, like you have to print these like clever workarounds that kind of do the same thing but are just absurdly better. Like it's kind of like they started it with bees and they were like, well, you know, bees isn't enough, and then it's like, you know, Scale of Onyxia, and then they're like, well, you know, that's too expensive for broken interactions. Let's make Flipper friends. Yeah, Scale.
A 5 mana 6/6 with taunt is like kind of a fair card, like in like old Hearthstone.
No one plays the Orca, the poor Orca.
Often.
Orca
one
gets
loves
bullied
him.
by
You
the
know, then they
otters.
clear you, just play the Orca.
When are you playing Flipper Friends without having something to clear?
Well, when you're like ahead on board and you just want to win, like you've cleared their board already with your combo, and the Pyro played their one pirate, and then you make a 6/6 taunt and keep going face. Like it happens. I have a few things left. I will say that I would like to revert Lightforge Curiel to 7 mana.
Like it.
She's
I love
like
that card.
there are just some cards like that. They're just so fun, and then you make them 1 more mana, and they're just not playable. I thought the
That
new
could be
Cure
a
cards were
candidate
fun.
for reversion when it
I
rotates.
hope so.
If it
Let's do it
doesn't,
now
I'm
while
gonna
Paladin
riot.
sucks. Let's do it next patch because Paladin's terrible instead.
True.
Other than maybe Renathal, like 40 card, draw your Cariel becomes busted because you drew your card. I don't know, but I like it because we're gonna nuke
Cariel's
Renathal
a
next
cool
patch
card.
too, right? So
Standard Reno Paladin with Cariel.
I don't know if you play Reno or not, but yeah, You play Kyriel and Renethal probably. And,
Reno Paladin was good in Wild. Can you imagine how good it would be in Standard?
oh, it doesn't have like the Call Mountain Giant and like
Does it have
doesn't have
to?
the 4-mana Nozdormu to ramp up to all your huge things.
Nozdormu was the highest win rate card in Reno
Yeah.
Paladin.
'Cause
Like,
you
it kind of was like the
Reload your
nuts,
deck
right?
and then ramp to 10
Sure.
mana. And
Yeah.
you have all the tech cards too, like the Standard doesn't have.
Yeah.
Rats and Lothips.
Yeah, fair. So,
Yeah, Carriel's cool.
I'm a big fan of Kyriel.
I was. Now she doesn't exist.
My next card is designed to help aggro. It's going to be a rework to Ice Fishing. Ice Fishing is going to be 2 mana, draw a Murloc for every card played this turn, not including Ice Fishing itself. So effectively, you're increasing the upside for a deck like Murloc Shaman. It could be nuts reload, but more importantly, it makes it so that you actually have to play 2 cards alongside your Ice Fishing to draw Flurgle Tox in slow Shaman deck.
So I appreciate the sentiment. However, having played a lot of Murloc Shaman, embarrassingly amount, I actually don't think that would be very good in Murloc Shaman, because typically what ends up happening is you curve out, and by the time you would have like you'd play like 2 Murlocs and that card, you'd be at turn 5, and it's kind of too late already. And frankly, we don't even run Ice Fishing anymore because Gorlock, the 4/3 that draws the Murlocs, is just so much better.
Sure.
So I mean, I
The
get that.
The Murloc Shaman was a bit of an afterthought.
Okay, well, if you want to destroy Flurgle Tox as like as a package and a concept, I mean, you get no argument from it.
Yeah.
It is so obnoxious. I got Flurgle Toxed earlier today, and it was such a feels bad.
I will say,
The
I used
only-
to be on the like make Toxfin 3 train, but today a Murloc Shaman that was just like playing Murloc Shaman, like use Toxfin as like what it's intended, where you like, I don't know, put on a Crab Rider and trade it into an 8/8, and like generated one, and it was like he almost scammed me by generating Toxfins to kill my stuff as Curse Warlock. But I was like, huh, that was like really cool and really fun that he able to like play to his Toxfin out, and I think the card's fine as 1 mana. So like maybe Ice Fishing, I'm like more on board with nerfing Ice Fishing, but like Ice Fishing is just, it's good in that deck too. So I don't like. There's no perfect solution. I think maybe Flurgle rework is my favorite change, where it's like that card you play is what deals 1 to everybody, which would then let you do the lifesteal thing, I guess. But like whatever. But yeah, sounds interesting. Draw a card for each card you played this turn. That wait,
It
does
would-
this draw
it would
Murloc
solve the
for each card
tutor.
you play this?
Draw a Murloc for every card played this
I
turn.
was think of like Frog Shaman type vibes, where it's just like Miracle Shaman, but you're drawing Murlocs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
That's
think
so
that it takes
good
away
in
the
Control
tutor.
Shaman. Isn't that nuts? You just don't have a flute, but you're already playing like Twin Fin and Gorlock Ravager and Scargill
Yeah.
and Tannis. That might just be better if you can play enough
and the
cards, I
thing
guess.
about-
Maybe you can't play enough cards though.
Drawing Murlocs kind of sucks because those are the bad cards in your deck, aside from the Flurgle Tox combo. So I don't know.
I feel like Twin Fin, Scargill, and Mutanus stuff is quite good. No?
I don't know.
The big idea here is that you can't have Flurgle Tox early so you can get under it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I get it. I think the card might be destroyed though, if it's draw 1 card for each, or draw Murloc for each card you've played this turn.
Let it be destroyed.
Maybe
I
it
think
brings
maybe
back
Murloc
Lightning
Shaman
Bloom.
is the only deck that could play it then, which maybe is fine.
Which you don't play it anyways,
Do you
Yeah.
know?
because you don't need it anymore.
Well, then
It's funny.
you can hear me out. You just like tech in Lightning Blooms in your Control Shaman, so you can get it early.
It makes Lightning Bloom relevant once more. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, Ice Fishing.
Yeah, not a fan. Floop's Gloop. That card is obscene.
Yes.
So I don't know how to best nerf it. I think you make it cost more mana, significantly more, and then it becomes a lot more awkward, especially with the recent Guff nerf. So make it cost 3 or 4, so you can still do the thing. It's just a lot more awkward.
I had this nerf on my list originally. I took it off because of points reasons, but I had it a lot lighter touch where it only refreshed for friendly minions.
Okay.
So it takes away like maybe 2 or 3 mana on your pop off turn.
It would matter, but you're right. Not extremely.
Mm.
But there are turns where like you have to like make sure you're killing the opponent's minion in a certain order so you have enough mana, and in those cases it would matter tremendously, because if you can't play your next way to summon stuff to make mana right, you can't make more mana. Yeah, Floop's one of those cards that sucked for a trillion years, and then they printed these 2 cards, and now it's like a broken 2-card combo in Wild.
Right. And I think doing it that way, doing the friendly minions, still like lets the decks who have always used it, like Line Cracker, still get to use it. You know,
Do we really want Line Cracker around?
I'm pretty ambivalent about Line Cracker. It's a bad deck.
Sure.
You know, let them play their fun thing.
Is it me? Am I after you? I've not paid attention this whole episode. Or is
Yes.
Blutrane now?
You wouldn't know it.
I would like to nerf Mana Burn. Let's make Demon Hunter good, and then when it's good, let's get rid of Mana Burn. Hate that card. Same thing as Theatar. Like, I'm planning my turns out, and then suddenly I don't have a turn. It's like Time Warp. I don't have a turn. And then I die, and it makes me sad. I hate it. Mana Burn. Let me play my cards. Thank you.
I very strongly.
It's like
disagree on this one.
Lothep on steroids, because it makes you every card like unplayable instead of just your spells. So good. And it's like so polarizing because it's only good like the first 3 turns, and then it's not that good anymore.
I really like it with Jace, so Mana Burn is the only thing Jace has going for it.
Jace plays Mana Burn? Does that even...
Yeah.
Really? Is that even a fel spell?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, more you know. Even
You
more
rip
reason to
2
nerf it.
You rip 2 of them in the early game, and then when you play Jace, they have 4 less mana to answer it with, whatever you happen to do. It's relevant. Because that's a little bit more control-y. I mean, I've played some Fel DH, and it's really struggling for some... It needs some better Fel spells, but taking away its best one is not fun. So...
It's not its best one. It has Flurry, okay? Fel Barrage and Twin Slide. It'll be fine. It's fine. Let's get rid of Mana Burn.
is the best. Mana Burn is the best card in that deck.
Gone. We have relics now. Mana Burn is an actual relic. Let's get rid of it. Can you tell I had 10 points left over? Goodbye, Mana Burn. All right.
All right.
How are we making Odd Warrior
Me.
better?
This is my last card.
Oh.
Jordan foreshadowed it so nicely earlier.
That's how we're making Odd Warrior better. Removing a win condition as a neutral card.
Yes. So Mecha'thun is getting reworked. So still the Death Rattle, right? But instead of saying if your deck, hand, and battlefield are empty, destroy the enemy hero, now it's going to say Death Rattle. If you've spent 100 mana this game, destroy the enemy hero.
And that costs it counters off adjusted mana cost. Is that the idea?
Yes, off of actual what you paid for it. So if you're playing fair and not Druid, this would be so you get 10 mana.
Unironically, I think it makes
Warlock.
Warlock bad and Druid fun because Druid spends mana. They just ramp to 20 and use like Floop to. They're spending mana. They're just also printing mana while they're spending mana. So Druid might actually be okay. I don't know if you spend 100, but you definitely spend way more than Warlock, or you're rotting things. I mean, Mecha'thun's kind of bad now, so like you kind of got your wish just over time, but that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I have strong feelings about Mecha'thun. I don't care if it's good or not. I just hate losing to it.
Do you ever
How do you feel
instant
about
concede when your
Platebreaker?
opponent plays like Quest Priest?
People don't play Platebreaker Blutrane.
Slime
The
Crackers,
people
man.
who play Platebreaker are the same people who play Skulking Dice. So
They exist.
Take
They're just
that
on
one
EU,
for
I
it.
hear.
White Delight plays a lot on EU now.
That would make sense. That checks out. Card's the pioneer inventor of double
The
dirty rat
the
Reno.
circle, it's a Venn diagram, and it's people who play Skulking Geist and White Delight, and it's a circle.
People who play on EU.
So I have already gone through my 100 points, but I have an extra item that I'd like to discuss, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Fine
I still
gentlemen.
have 3.
All right.
Yeah.
So this isn't a card; it's a hero power. I
Life
believe that
Tap.
Life Tap should cost 3. Now, hear me out. I think that changing Life Tap to costing 3
No.
would better position Hearthstone for the near and long-term future. The Warlock class has always been extremely difficult to find a sweet spot in terms of power, primarily because its hero power makes it so consistent.
Are
In
you
order to
reading a
give
copy
other
pasta?
classes more design space, while also giving other classes room to breathe and keep up, I think moving Gul'dan's signature hero power to 3 mana will achieve that. Players still will be able to gain card advantage quickly with the hero power, but it won't feel as oppressive and unfun to play against. So, in order to make Warlock a balanced class, make Life Tap cost 3.
Nice pasta.
That's not the pasta. The pasta that I'm reading is the patch notes that we memed on when we created them. When was this? This was July of 2021. Make life tap cost 3. Hey, at least I'm not saying make whatever the hero power for warrior is, tank up whatever cost 5.
Yeah,
So I mean, you know,
I would drive to Canada and get you.
So just full disclosure, I really don't think they should make life tap cost 3. It's just funny that it's gone on for this long. And the funniest part about it is that every time it like resurfaces, a bunch of people take it seriously. They're like, "Yeah, make life tap cost 3." And like the joke is like, wouldn't it be funny if one day they actually do it?
Yeah, compared to backfire.
Phil Daniels
I
in the
mean,
corner mauling.
they've
Quite a long time ago.
they changed. There's precedent. They got rid of Wrath of Air Totem. They've changed hero powers.
It's true.
It can be done.
That was so
That's
weird.
that's my last item.
It's
Yeah.
crazy that you
Thank
remove
you for indulging me.
Wrath of Air Totem and print the guitar. It's kind of wild, quite frankly. Anyway, I still have 35
Yeah.
points because I had like 6 levels. I would like to throw a bone to just the community. I like playing Big Priest sometimes. You know, I like just turning my brain off. But like Shadow Essence should not cost 6 mana this many years later. Just throw it up to 7 maybe. Make the high roll 1 turn later. Call it a day. I don't know. There's 10 points gone. Have fun with your 7 mana Shadow Essence. I don't think you make it 8 because of Idol of your Charge. It just feel weird to me. Maybe you could because you just want to kill the card. But I'd put it to 7.
Maybe you make it 8 mana, but instead of being a 5/5 copy, it's just whatever the actual stats are.
Oh, 7 mana, but actual stats. I think you just make it 7. I don't think you have to compensate.
No, 8 mana, but actual stats.
Oh, 8 mana, but actual stats instead of 8 mana 10/10. Maybe. You could also just ban Illuminate, but I don't know. I think Shadow Essence has been in every Big Priest deck that's ever been hated, so maybe you do that one.
Yeah.
I would also like to see there's just hate the card. Just really don't like it. It's been in the game for far too long. Let's just like nerf Devolve, please. Just had enough, really, quite frankly. I've had enough of Devolve. It's been a tyrant for too
Guys,
long.
if you nerf Devolve and ice fishing, what Shaman got left?
Shaman's
Got nothing.
good.
As it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You've got Shaman selling for a bit too
Until
long.
he gets a real hero power, it shouldn't exist. That's my take. I hate Devolve. It's so powerful. With Dungeoneer and
it is very
it's
strong.
So strong. It's so gross.
Yeah, and if you nerf Devolve, then they'll actually maybe someone will play Primordial Wave for the first time ever.
Yeah, let's nerf Devolve, please. I don't like.
I already spent my 100 points, but the honorable mentions that I ended up cutting, Warpath to 1, Gibberling to 1, Zamro to a 3 mana 2/6, Battle Rage to 1.
You say Samro to a 3 mana 2/6?
I did.
Sheesh. You want it to be Rancor, like without the armor on its own, without being fucked.
Yeah.
That card
I
is currently
see.
seeing play in Wild. It's a 4
Yeah.
mana 1/6. It's not great, probably, but if you have the right cards with it, it's fine. My last 15 points are to ban Counterspell on a stick. Let's get that stupid rotten fishman out of here. Okani, get him gone. No
I do
likey.
hate that card.
I hate
do
Okani.
hate that.
It's the worst. Even Shaman plays it.
Okani.
Anybody plays it. I don't like it. Sometimes I have a giant on board and they play Okani and I go, okay, cool. You can just kill this Okani. But sometimes I can't play the video game because they played Okani, and that makes me sad.
Or you just play against someone who plays Infinite Shutterwalks and you just don't get to play any cards for the rest of the game.
Yes, facts. Well, Infinite Shutterbox, you're losing anyway, but yes. Okani, gross. Gone. Thank you. Does it need to go? I mean, I've cooled off on the card, but I don't enjoy it. So sure, it's on my list. Get it gone.
Yeah.
I think that's 100. It feels like I went over, but I think it's just because I had like 4 buffs and a bunch of 10s. Those are my
Well,
rough
we'll do
ideas of things
we'll
I
do
hate.
the math in post, and if you go over, we'll like shame you or something. It's fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Children's card game streamer can't do math. Basic edition.
Yeah. Well, that's our episode. I'm the best trivia gamer ever when he picks things that are in my Jeopardies, and those are our hot takes.
Rigged.
I think like
Well-
5 of the 7 questions Fish has given were in my Jeopardy. And I know he watches them because he comments on some of them, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I think part of the problem is I go to the wiki to look for trivia, and so does he. So that's gonna happen. I didn't know it was 26 though. I thought it was like 18 or 19. So that's
I'll learn
quite
something.
big. Maybe 19
Thanks
is
for-
the cards, but I don't know that that many doubles.
Thanks everyone for listening or watching this episode of How Do We Make Odd Warrior Tier 1 so that Andrew hates it.
Yeah, why do you want this buff?
Blutrane kind of like took my ground from underneath
Took
me.
the wind
I
out of
wasn't
your sails
expecting
there.
that. So I was like, I just want
You don't have an answer for that one.
if you want to do this little exercise, we'll post it with the tweet and you guys can show us what your changes would be. Be a fun little interactive. Let's farm some engagement. As always, Blutrane, thank you for coming on again. We promise this one will actually get posted so everyone can hear your beautiful voice.
Thank you for having me back. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Anything that you'd like to plug there, sir?
Wow. I should have been better prepared for this question. Maybe just my Twitter. Twitter.com/Blutrane, BLUTRANE. That's where I'm most active. So if you want to interact with me, that's where you should do it.
Make sure that once again, if you're not following the podcast on Twitter, go and do that. We'd love to start a mailbag segment at the end of the episodes. So if you guys follow us, and you can send us questions and we'll answer them. Any questions your heart desires. Congrats
Especially
to
about Odd
Jordan,
Warrior.
especially about Odd Warrior. I have many opinions about Odd Warrior. Yeah. Congratulations to Jordan for hitting 50,000 views on his most recent video, by the way. Insane. Big props for that.
Hey, 1,500 subs today.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
Does YouTube do like a YouTube year in review? Because those numbers are gonna be really fun to look at.
I mean, I like 3 weeks ago had 600 subs. So
Yeah.
it
I think
has
back
been
in
a good couple
January you
weeks.
probably were sub like 200, right?
Maybe.
Didn't you start this year at like 50 subs or something like that?
No.
No.
No, I don't think I've been that low. But yeah, it's slowly starting to brew here. I could probably look through my
Yeah.
media real quick and find. I think I posted when I hit 100. So innocent and young back then. All of 4 months ago. I
I've
hit
almost
500
hit-
subs in June, and that was as a result of the Jeopardy featuring Raffle and Corbat
Get
and
me
Get Me
out.
Out.
Things like that. Yeah.
And
I have listened to so much State of Wild recently.
oh yeah.
It's crazy what a 40-minute drive several times a day will do for your podcast listening habits.
I hit 100 subs on February 19th of 2020.
It's the last year. Okay. Or 2 years ago.
February 19th of 2020, this year. That's when I hit 100 subs.
Today, this is 2022.
Guess what I said? February 19th of 2022.
You said 2020 like
Did I?
several times.
Yeah. 2022. That's
February 19th,
exponential.
2022.
Is that exponential growth? My brain can't do math, but it's very rapid growth, and for
Yeah.
quality content, so it's very
Well
much
deserved. On that note, thank you guys all for tuning into the People's Champ podcast. And tune in next time where we anger you with more Odd Warrior takes. See ya.